Welcome to TRLEvision, a show chronicling my ongoing journey through the very best and most unique custom Tomb Raider levels made using the Tomb Raider level editor. Today we'll be taking a look at an ambitious level set that aims to adapt the famous science fiction work of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, but of course with a Tomb Raider twist. That twist being that you play through a loose retelling of the novel's events, but all through the lens of Lara Croft, who in this adventure lives underground with a group of survivors acting as humanity's last bastion of civilization after a large global pandemic of unknown origin wiped out most of the Earth's population. Oh dear. Yes, the timing of this level set's release is a little unfortunate, with the topic of the story within sadly being quite current, but make no mistake, War of the Worlds is a level set that you should definitely not sleep on, and is one of the few cases where a fan's project's lofty ambitions actually live up to their expectations, and even dare I say surpass them on a number of occasions. Which is just as well, because this took them 10 years to make. 10 years! Holy shit! First, let's take a look at the graphics of this game, because much like the last creation we covered, this level set pushes the Tomb Raider engine to its absolute limits. The level of detail and the amount of stuff that they've managed to cram into every square inch of this game's environments is just nothing short of impressive. Abandoned rooms are often filled with debris and destroyed furniture, military equipment is scattered everywhere, turrets and barricades are also set up as well, and industrial areas are grimy and littered with quarantine equipment like tubes and big machines. And without going into spoilers here, there were a decent amount of futuristic and otherworldly elements to this game too. Each area has an incredibly accurate real-world look to them, which helps to connect you with the world this game takes place in, almost lending it a sense of instant believability because of it. Streets are littered with burnt down cars, litter is everywhere, there's overgrown foliage up the wazoo, and each abandoned house or apartment that you come across has busted walls, broken windows, wrecked furniture, and sometimes even a discarded journal to read that gives the place its own unique backstory. Often these data entries detail the lives of the homeowners during the initial pandemic wave, or their life coping with it afterwards. Aside from the slight inconsistency with the English translation, it does wonders for building the world that these characters lived in. It's often pretty grim and dark stuff to read, dealing with themes of loss, suicide, murder, grief, and it all helps to paint a really oppressive picture of the state that this pandemic has left the world in. The design of the environment can occasionally lead to several moments where the limitations of the engine end up getting in the way and become more intrusive to the gameplay, like say getting stuck on the geometry or going to grab a ledge only to get blocked by an invisible barrier, or her just not grabbing the ledge at all. There are also a couple of notable examples where having prior knowledge of advanced Tomb Raider movement tech will help you greatly in getting past certain obstacles. Did I just do that completely by accident? But for the most part, this level set gives you all of the tools that you need to play it, and it's up to you to figure out how to do the rest. Something that might catch some people off guard is the reduced methods of traversal in this game. This is very much a Lara that's bruised and battered and beaten down after spending years as a survivor of this global catastrophe, and as a result she's not quite as agile as she used to be, so don't go into this expecting to be able to do flips and be able to bounce around like she could do before. Something that I really wasn't expecting to be caught off guard by were the weather effects they created for this level set, because let me tell you, this sequence here where you're walking out from the wreckage of your car and into a storm looks fucking phenomenal for a Tomb Raider engine game. How the hell they got this to work and look as good as it does, I have no idea, but bravo, man. Fucking excellent stuff. All of this level set takes place in the dead of night, which means lots and lots of dank and dark locations where you're going to have to make use of fire or flashlights in order to be able to see where you're going. Thankfully, the flashlight that you have doesn't take up an inventory slot and is activated with the press of a button, meaning you don't have to carry it around whilst you use it, and you still have the ability to use your weapons at the same time. And also, this flashlight doesn't have a battery to worry about, so that's instantly better than any of the other flashlight mechanics I've played in previous Tomb Raider level sets. So, bonus, big bonus. Most importantly, this level set has more of a survival horror approach than your standard tomb raiding affair. So throughout your journey, you're encouraged to search every inch of your surroundings to find more healing items, keys, ammunition, and additional weapons. These can all be found on the floor, on corpses, in various shelving units, or within various cupboards and cabinets that you come across, and doing so rewards you experience points. These points get awarded for completing various tasks, finding secrets, and also for defeating an enemy in Mortal Kombat. and it all gets fed through into a leveling system to unlock new abilities, increase certain stats, and also increase item capacity for things like ammo. I personally didn't find that I leveled up too much on my playthrough, which came back to bite me in the arse majorly towards the end. But the addition of this is a neat feature that helps make this adventure seem unique when stacked up against its contemporaries. Another ability that they've added to this level set is actually a carryover from the reboot trilogy of all games, which is the ability to activate a survivor instinct that highlights items and other nearby objects and points of interest. It's good that they've done this because often because of how dense the environments can look, you can easily walk past a really important item without even noticing. Something that I did with the crossbow in this game and severely regretted it later. And if there's any nugget of wisdom that I can impart to anyone watching this video and wanting to play this level set for the first time, it would be this: do not skip the crossbow. For the love of God, don't skip the crossbow. It's an extremely useful and powerful weapon in this game that can use a scope, has multiple ammo types that you can find easily, but can easily be missed if you're not careful. And I say this because I managed to completely miss this weapon and thought, it's clearly optional if I can miss it so easily, so I'm sure I can beat the game without it. And then I made it all the way to the final boss, only just to then run out of ammo completely for everything and had no way to finish this game at all, meaning I had to borrow a save file from our Lord and Savior TRLE. Once I'd gotten past that, I was able to beat the game and see the ending, which I won't spoil, but man did it leave me with a bit of an empty feeling. War of the Worlds is another level set that tries to push the cinematic envelope, with several cutscenes that take place both in between and during live gameplay, which I found very interesting. I've not personally ever seen someone be able to recreate a scripted action sequence set piece in this game's engine before, but what they've managed to do here to pull it off in this engine is extremely impressive. One example of this is the beginning escape sequence where Lara is running through the survivors' hideout to escape from the military, and there's a moment where you reach a certain area and bam, we're given a set piece right then and there. But instead of it taking control away from the player to watch it all from a second camera angle and breaking the immersion, it keeps the default player camera squarely on Lara whilst the animations for the sequence play out, preserving the flow of the action in the process. There's even another sequence later where Lara gets so startled she says a swear.
What's your profanity?
Which leads nicely into the voice acting in this game, and I have to say I have no complaints here. For a fan project, the quality is pretty consistent for all the characters that you interact with here. The standout, of course, is Jen Millward as Lara, who some of you may have heard lending her voice to Lara in my Underworld video, and for many years has lent her voice to several fan projects and has been considered the unofficial voice of Lara for some time now. Her voice is the one that you'll hear the most throughout your time in this level set, but the supporting cast that you encounter certainly aren't no slouch either. They're certainly above average for a level set like this, which usually features characters voiced by the level maker's friends, a text-to-speech bot, or other enthusiastic members of the community, and thankfully this doesn't ever reach the meme territory like Mists of Avalon's Winston does. The rest of the game has a fantastic soundscape to it, with weapons sounding punchy and visceral, flames crackle brightly in the distance, and the atmosphere tracks that are used really help to cover this whole experience in a nice warm snuggly blanket of dread. There are some technical issues with this level set, which is kind of to be expected with it being so big and so complex. For instance, the game can often randomly crash to desktop when loading into new areas, something that happened to me multiple times, so anyone who plays this, I encourage you to make multiple save files to avoid encountering this or getting stuck. Another is certain graphical elements like the crossbow scope won't load correctly if you're using a computer that has more than one monitor, so in order to fix this you have to turn off the second screen in order for that particular overlay to load on the scope, which is a little bit odd, but once you've done it, it's fixed. Another odd thing that I found while streaming this level set is that all of the journal entries or PDA menu screens would show fine for me on my screen, but for some reason my viewers on the stream and chat couldn't see it at all. I had no idea really why it did this, so maybe perhaps someone in the comment section can let me know, as it meant that I had to read out all of the journal entries to the chat so they could at least know what I was looking at. But this sort of behavior is par for the course when it comes to these level sets, and is honestly to be expected when going into them. So if you're patient enough to work past these issues and keep going, you'll be rewarded with a fun, if occasionally brutal bit of survivalist puzzle platforming. If you're looking for something that truly immerses you in its world and storytelling that's a bit more on the serious side and less tongue-in-cheek than other level sets, then War of the Worlds definitely has you covered. It's certainly something that shows off just how good this community can really be, with a lot of love, care, and passion poured into crafting it. It's definitely something I can wholeheartedly recommend to anyone who is a Tomb Raider fan watching this video, providing you're up for a challenge and can put up with a fair amount of jank. And that wraps up this episode of TRLEvision. As always, if you know of any other creative level sets that you would like me to check out and cover for a video, then be sure to pop me a recommendation down in the comment section below, or head over to the Warr Manor Discord server and pop a recommendation to me there. If you want to check out any of these level sets to play for yourself, the links to download them are in the video's description box below. And you can even watch me play some of these level sets live for the first time every Thursdays over on twitch.tv/SteveOfWarr. Special thanks to all of my super generous channel members, Twitch subscribers, Ko-fi supporters, and everyone else who helps keep this channel going. And of course, a massive, massive thank you to everyone for watching this video. Take care.